Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K, and it's time for another odd ranking video of a topic that a good amount of people know, a good amount of people probably don't know, and at the same time, it's one of my favorite games. We're gonna jack in back into the Mega Man topic, and Mega Man Battle Network has been a series where I've played half the games and beaten one. Yeah, I never played 1 through 3. I never beat 4 through 5. I did, however, beat both of 6 because, in my opinion, 6 is where a lot of the mechanics kind of got a little bit better, and everything just got better from number 6, in my opinion. So to start, one of the things that I loved about it is how we were introduced to a new town, new characters, new bosses, but somehow old faces, some of them start to show up. I'm talking about the Link Navis in both games. The Link Navis happen after you defeat the second boss, where we are thrusted into a kind of, one of those side missions in video games where it showcases part of the story, and then you can do them throughout the game as much as you want. Now, these ones are really fun because for the first time in a Mega Man series, outside of Battle Network 5, that we get to control other Navis other than Mega Man. But yeah, Battle Network 5 kind of cemented that with the Team Proto Man, Team Colonel motif. But this one did it in a little bit more of a fun way. Throughout the game, there will be 5 operators who will be looking to train people in certain lifestyle, certain jobs, certain functions with their navis, and you will be using said navis to go throughout the net and achieve the objectives. Also battling viruses with said navi and using their own special attacks, their weaknesses, and using their own abilities to basically, throughout the level, throughout the entirety of Mega Man Battle Network 6 in the net, there are some obstacles that are in your way, and some of these navis that will have certain programs being locked on, locked ones that are basically blocked off to Mega Man that he can't access. So as you go out through the game, you will take control of said characters, go throughout the level, go throughout the areas of the net, and basically removing said obstacles so you can collect the extra stuff. And each character has their own unique ability. Well, not ability, but obstacle to remove. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Link Navis themselves, their missions, their designs, and also the cross system of after you complete their mission, they will after you defeat them with Mega Man, you will basically like double soul or whatever it's called in the games and stuff. I just remember Double Soul because I remember watching the anime or show, whichever. And I will also be comparing the outfits of how Mega Man looks and the abilities that he gains throughout these. So I will be ranking these from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. Now, I'm not saying that any of them are terrible, because they honestly aren't. Each one's unique. The stories are kind of unique. Okay, yeah, I said unique already. You never feel like you're doing the same thing twice, which I really do enjoy. So let's see if I can do this. Nope, my fingers are too big. Let's jack in and start this video. Starting the bottom of the list is, okay, the first one that we get from Fowler, which is the bird one, is, okay, we fought this guy in Battle Network 4, and just like in the anime, he's a bit of a sobbing little turd. We have Aquaman. No, don't. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I knew the joke was coming. This Aquaman. This little bundle of joy that looks just as threatening as a basket of puppies. I can't remember his operator's name. Suiko something? She's basically a girl who's constant bad luck. And yeah, we go through that old chestnut. Suiko's trying to help people learn about how to use aqua chips or something like that. So we go to talk to her boss in the seaside area, and sadly the cyber water valve gets released too much, and the entire area engulfs in water, releasing some of the fish data. So by going into a cyclone, we have to walk throughout the area and collect the fish. Yeah, like I said, this one's at the bottom because it's such a story, and plus we have to do this in order to progress. Yeah. Plus, okay, yeah, Aquaman's attacks aren't that bad. Like his special chip, he spins into a spout, or yeah, I'm not really talking about the chips or anything. But defeating him is very easy if you have a bunch of electric chips, and plus his attacks are very non-threatening a good majority of the times. Like, he'll shoot his water cannon, which will do bubble attacks into 2 panels. He'll bring out a massive hose, which will shoot water at us, and then he'll spin into the middle and spew water from his spout. Yeah, this was a wishy-washy boss. His design is pretty simple. The story's basically a whole, oh my god, something screwed up while we were on duty or something like that. It's kind of bare bones, and it definitely shows a little bit. Coming up next is one that's, I don't know how this design was done, but the design isn't that bad. It's Charge Man, and actually I do like this design. I like how they made a train into a Navi. The whole theme of it is amazing. Basically, we have to take passengers from the net, from the undernet to all the other areas while doing, I want to say a mini game, because we don't really battle viruses as part of the story. Or actually, some of these we don't, but I mean, yeah, we do fight the Navis as we go through the levels, and the viruses instantly attack. But Charge Man's is actually pretty ingenious. Like, we just pick up passengers, dodge the obstacles, and once in a while we ram through them with our locomotion ability. But being that he's a fire elemental guy, and there's a lot, I think fire elementals in the Mega Man series is kind of their Achilles heel, because there's so many of them. Yeah, I hope you put a whole bunch of them, because, yeah, there's a whole bunch. Plus, his attacks are pretty cool. He gets to ram the opponents. He gets to release fireballs from his smokestack. So, yeah, Charge Man. Pretty cool design. Pretty interesting mission, to be honest. It's one of the cooler ones. The only thing, though, is that he's later in the game. So by this point, we have a whole bunch of chips. So, yeah. I mean, again, it's a pretty cool character. It's really, really cool character. Number 8 on this list is, I want to make a Breeze joke, but I don't want to do something stupid. We have Tengu Man, and this guy's mission was one of the cool ones. Basically, his operator is basically kind of like a shaman or something, and he's teaching us how to use the power of the wind. Well, just get me a bunch of Taco Bell and I can master the wind in about 10 minutes. Okay, who wrote this? So by using the power of the wind, we basically have to collect a whole bunch of scrolls throughout the areas while avoiding cyber crows. And if they peck us, we have to start all over again. Luckily, we have the power of the wind to deflect all of the crows, but doing so loses a leaf on our fan. So you always have to be mindful, either retreat and scramble or use the wind and divert them away. And being a wind boss makes his attacks very irritating, mostly because he is a floater, so he won't be affected by cracked panels or stat effect panels. And he can use his wind attacks to oh no, wait, that's Windman that does those attacks. But his attacks are amazing. He'll dive at us. He'll create cyclones. He'll send the cyber crows at us. Being a wind elemental, his weakness is swords, I believe. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure swords is the weakness for wind. But nonetheless, his design is pretty cool based on the Japanese yokai, a Tengu, which is the red-faced, long-nosed wind demon. And I do love how they didn't make it so humanoid, but at the same time making him look very original. And I do love the design. The mission is pretty fun, and his boss fight is always a blast of wind. But overall, he's still lower on the list because there are just better missions. Because since he's in the same game as Spoutman, and he is technically the second one that we have to do, after going about collecting the fish, going to collect scrolls just, again, feels almost the same thing, but still adding something new to it. So it's still a little repetitive. Next up is a blast from the past. For those of you who played Team Colonel, we've got... Okay, honestly, I played Team Proto Man because that's the only one I found. And once the Battle Network games get on PlayStation, I will be getting the game so I can finally achieve my live stream and playing all the old games. But from watching the game, we've got Dingo, who's a great character, and his boy, Tomahawk Man. This dude is badass to no extent. From having the cool native motif with the headpiece, with his tomahawk hand, he is definitely one of the coolest designs I've seen in a good long while for Mega Man. Plus, I honestly thought he would, when I first fought him, I didn't know what element he was. I kept attacking him with basic stuff without realizing he's a wood attribute. Who would have thought? His attacks vary from swinging his tomahawk, cracking our panels, using totems, I believe, to launch. Oh no, wait, that's in 5. He does that. He'll swing out his tomahawk like a boomerang out the outside panels. So for his story, for his mission, we are going through the trials of the totems, where the totem poles are throughout the area. We will attack them, and where we will be on the entire battlefield is available for us to go. Kind of like what they did in Mega Man Battle Network 5, where you can switch, where you can look forward, you can look backward, and you have the entire panel to work with, and we have to chop down the totem poles and do this enough to complete the challenge. How is this a challenge? Well, for one thing, the lower the totem poles are, because they'll keep growing as the battle goes. The lower they are, the less energy you build up. The taller they are, the more energy you build up. And then once they reach the top, they will release an attack that will strike us and we'll miss an opportunity. And then as it goes on, there will be different colors which rise at different speeds. So you'll have to keep your eye out on it. And again, his boss fight, also fantastic, because I do believe Tomahawk Man doesn't flinch when you do certain attacks on him. So, yeah. Tomahawk Man and his design. Oh my god, I forgot the designs when Mega Man crosses with them. Oh, I forgot to do that. Okay, quick rundown of it. Here's Spout Man. Basic, generic, basically the same thing you get when you fight him in Blue Moon or Red Sun. Yeah, Blue Moon or Red Sun. Basically, boosts up your water attacks, and yeah, it's okay. Charge Man, you become a badass locomotive, where your charge attack is you charge the enemy like you're a freaking high school quarterback. American high school quarterback, because Canada doesn't really have that many football teams. Tengu Man looks really sick and can create a cyclone gun in order to attack. Really epic. Tomahawk Man, same freaking thing. We get the Tomahawk blade, and we're ready to chop down some viruses. Badass design, badass characters, badass mission. If though a little bit simple, it just doesn't have the same flair for me. So, coming from Tomahawk Man and going right into another guy from Falzer, it's time to take out the trash with this absolute hunk of beast Dustman. This thing looks intimidating on its own, and I'm so happy he's on our side. Basically, Dustman and his pal, Mr. Press, teach us how to recycle in the dark net. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of recycled and deleted stuff in the dark net are not stuff that you want to recycle. Oh, that was a terrible joke. So basically, for his mission, we are in the Undernet, and we're doing somewhat of the same thing of Tomahawk Man and Charge Man, where we will have to recycle as much, trash as we can, while at the same time, bombs and missiles will be coming down too, so we'll have to press those with his press arms, and his attacks are pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Dustman is a beast, like I said, and his attacks show it. From releasing garbage ogre-looking creatures to punch the ground in order to break the ground for his charge attack, to bringing the person towards him and pressing them. And yeah, the whole thing is basically collect enough garbage and you complete the segment. And make sure you get rid of the bombs and the rockets, or else they'll damage you if you get hit. And his boss fight, again, because he's a later boss, the amount of chips and power-ups that you get will kind of make you a little overpowered. But at the same time, if you've never fought them before, they can definitely throw you off. So this garbage man definitely did his job, and again, great design. Also, here's his Mega Man cross form, which looks pretty cool. We still have the chest, the open chest area where he has. We got the beefy arms. It's again a nice design. It's just that the other ones look a little bit cooler. So next up, we're going to one of my personal favorites from Gregor. We've got Slash Man, and this dude is absolutely badass. From his long arms to his razor sharp claws, it's almost like you're fighting with Wolverine and Mega Man, and I love it. And what's his mission? Well, with him and his operator, we're learning how to cook. Yeah, I'm not kidding. As if cooking in that one mini game in Blue Moon and Red Sun wasn't painstakingly annoying enough, this one is a little bit different. In the same area that Tengu Man is, We are sent out to collect cyber vegetables by using /man, and basically what is a QTE section where we have seconds to input the correct codes in order to slice up the vegetables in order to gain points. Do a perfect run on the QTE, and you will get extra points. And his attacks are fantastic. He can do a sidestep and slash his opponents. He can release kunai in all 3 panels and send them down. He can do a mirage slash in front of the enemy. And his special attack, he will go Beyblade and spin with his claws in order to deal massive damage. I love that. His boss fight, again, if you never fight him before, he's challenging. And considering he's a sword element, he doesn't really have a weakness, to my knowledge. But yeah, his overall design and I love how both Tengu Man and Slash Man kind of have that Japanese feel to them in their design. So they're in the same area but in different games, but they still feel like they would belong in the same town, and I love that. The Mega Man design, basically mouth guard and razor sharp Wolverine claws. What could you want more from? Okay, this next one is, again, a personal favorite of mine, mostly because he was one of my favorite characters from the anime and one of my favorite operators from the anime. I'm just going to say this, Mr. Match and Heat Man. Yes, I love these two together because in every single game, except for 2 and 5. Yeah, except for 2 and 5. Mr. Match has been a nuisance to LAN consistently. But throughout the games, he kind of tries to change a little bit. Except for 1 and 3, where he is basically bad to the core. But it's in number 4 where hopefully, if you're lucky enough to fight him in the Blue Moon during the Blue Red Sun, I can't remember which one he's in, but basically he tries to change, helping out the hot dog vendor girl who he kind of likes, and using Fireman. I'm sorry, I prefer Torchman because it sounds cooler. Although he was planning on setting a bomb so he would win against LAN, but then when the hot dog girl is there, I've mentioned this a bit in a previous video, he starts to change his mind. Even though he does do his sentence, he returns in number 6. Finally, Mr. Match has turned over a new leaf, which is a weird thing to say for the fire dude, and decides to start teaching after getting out of jail. I'm guessing he did some studying while in prison, I guess. And he decides to teach people how to use the power of fire, which I absolutely love. And Heat Man is the perfect. As much as I love Torchman, and I never fought Flame Man because he was a number 3, and he definitely looks like a badass. Heat Man is my favorite. For one thing, his design. He is a wicked deep fire demon in the body of an opened lighter, with his hands on fire that kind of look like the a lighter sticks. His fingers look like the fire can spew out of them. I love his personality because it's all kind of creepy, happy-go-lucky. Imagine if Jack Skellington was on fire. Oh, wait, he is on fire a majority of the time. Okay, imagine if Jack Skellington had a bolder-than-life personality and was on fire. That's what Heat Man is. And I love that he is the first guy we get to control. Okay, Aquaman's first if you play Fowler, but Heat Man was my first one, and I loved his design so much. And plus, his ultimate attack when you control him, wherever you are, he will jump onto the opponent's field and do a 3-panel, 4-panel damaging fire tower when he presses into the ground like a match with his lighter. And I just love it. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about Heat Man because he's just one of my favorites. And the whole mission, because it's actually teaching us something, I'm glad they didn't do something cliche like have some of the X World 3. Yeah, I know they're called WWW, but it's World 3, guys. The World 3 organization, I'm glad some of his old henchmen or old pals didn't try to ruin his career. I'm glad they didn't do that because that would have been too cliche because he was already a villain in 1. He was already a villain in 3. His guys screwed him over in 4. So to have him basically just teaching us is perfect. We basically have to find the kettle viruses, do a fight with them by using fire chips to raise their heat up. Bring the heat up to 100 and they will explode, taking out any of the viruses that are in their vicinity. Have them explode in the middle and they'll take out everything in the 9-panel square. Do this a good number of times and we can finally have our perfect showdown with Mr. Match and Heat Man, and we will get this. I like this a hell of a lot better than Torchman's because it just has that overall badass aesthetic. It's got the tubes connecting to his arms where the fire could go through. He's got the small flames coming off his head. Again, another mouth visor, which I do love, and he just looks super badass. So once again, for the final Battle Network game, I know everyone loves it for other reasons, but the fact that they gave my boy, Mr. Match, his absolute redemption that he deserved, they cranked up the heat on his character for this, and I love it. And every time I play the games, every time he talks, I still picture that Scottish accent from Mega Man NT Warrior because it's perfect. It totally fits. Okay, I'm pretty much burned out over this one. Let's go to something different. Okay, another blast from the past. It may have been only in Mega Man Battle Network 1, but this guy is number 3 on the list for 3 reasons. 1, the mission is pretty unique. 2, how they integrate the character with a new operator, but at the same time made it feel similar. And as I was saying, 3 reasons why this next guy is one of my absolute favorites, from his design to his overall mission that you have to do in the game, to how they integrated a new operator to make the Navis still work great. The 3rd reason is in Mega Man Battle Network and Mega Man NT Warrior. I know this has nothing to do with the games, but I just need to say it. This character was voiced by one of my favorite voice actors from other shows, and he passed away about a good couple years ago, so I just had to acknowledge him. The great Kirby Morrow. And for those of you who are fans, you guessed it, it's Elecman. This dude, the design alone, like instead of just doing like a Thunderbolt guy and have sparks coming all over him, look at this design. This dude, camera was offset. This dude has lightning rods on his back, crisscross, which makes him even cooler. From his helmet to just the way he looks, he has that electronic aesthetic, but it's not so obvious like other electric themed characters. And so for this character, his operator isn't Count Zap, who is an absolute psycho. It's his wife, Ann Zap, who apparently doesn't know what her husband was doing, that he was part of World 3 or anything. And now that I think about it, Mr. Match is the only member of World 3 that we ever see again. I mean, to be fair, having to use Magic Man, Wacko Man, sorry, Color Man, I still love Wacko Man better, it still makes more sense. And Elect Man, never seeing them again, but I do like that Elect Man and Heat Man are in the same game, so it definitely has that kind of synergy a little bit. So for this, we are learning how to use electricity by helping light up the Net Cafe sign. Yeah, but then the lights go down in the sky area, and we are tasked with finding the cyber batteries while ghouls from the dark net are kind of doing a zombie walk towards us. If they get us, our electricity will go down. The fun thing about this, and why this one is a little bit higher than the others, is how it kind of plays against you a little bit, because usually you'll have the entire area to see, but now you have just this little circle that's around Elect Man, and as your energy depletes, the circle will get smaller and smaller until the darkness takes over and you have to restart. There are buttons, however, throughout each area that where you step on them, they will light up the entire area, so you can kind of get a good view of where you are and what path to go. And I do love fighting with him because the charge attack turns into a lightning bolt attack. And after we complete it, his boss fight is great. He calls down thunderbolts on us. He uses his charge gun. He puts out two conductors, and as he shoots his thunder at them, they will go into a cross pattern depending on where they're placed. So you got to watch out for where you're standing so you don't get zapped. And the cross form is basically Elect Man's armor on Mega Man. It's nothing super ridiculous. It's nothing super complicated. But it's the whole thing of this story, like another World 3 member is being redeemed. I really enjoy it. I do love a good redemption story that doesn't seem forced. And we haven't seen Elect Man since game 1, so the fact that they were able to knock out two birds with one stone in the same game definitely makes me happy. And again, the fact that Elect Man being one of my favorite characters in the anime, also in the game, it's really fun controlling him and getting to shock some viruses as one of my favorite electric themed characters. Okay, number 2 is a new dude, and this character, I can't believe they made this into a Navi. We have Ground Man, which is basically an excavation drill with a face and arms. Hang on. Look at this dude. It's so badass. The fact that his head is a drill is one thing, but to have two giant drills on his shoulders and to have caterpillar tracks be the way he moves, that's epic in and of itself. I'm just saying. The whole thing of Ground Man is mine work, I guess you could say it is. Mining, I think that's how you could describe it. Basically, throughout the net, there are these boulders that we will have to destroy. And the way we do it, but the thing is that the boulders are placed lined up and somewhat apart. And also they have the Mr. Pog, the green rabbity looking guys. Yeah, because Mr. Hertz is from Star Force, but you guys know what I mean. Where once we get to a boulder, there will be an energy meter where it will depend on how far we go with how much power. And we have to be careful because, we can destroy a whole bunch, but if you hit a Mr. Hertz, you have to start that set over. And so being mindful of how much power to put behind the drill. Not only that, but we have a dynamite timer that shows how much we have, how much time we have to destroy all the boulders in said area. So I do enjoy that. I really, really enjoy this whole the aesthetic of Groundman and what he does. And his boss fight, again, another one that is absolutely fun to do. He'll send his drills after us in different directions. He'll drill rush us, which will cause a cave-in, and boulders will fall in certain panels. So it's always being mindful. I like how the big brute characters aren't just sheer power, but they also kind of screw over your playing field a little bit. So I really do enjoy that. And his cross design is basically giving Mega Man drill shoulder pads. And his charge attack is just sending the drills one way, which I do love. I do love the design. But there's one Net Navi that's my number one favorite in this game. And for those of you who are fans who have been counting, you know who it is. The fact that they turned a dark theme into a Net Navi for a kid's game. Okay, to be fair, the Mega Man games do go a little bit darker than the show ever does. And I commend them for it. But this was inching away from being, we got to get rid of this guy. And he's so badass. We have Erase Man, who is literally an assassin Net Navi working for an assassin, Grim Reaper. Look at this dude. Tell me he is not something that a cosplayer would love to do. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure if one of my friends who is into the dark stuff could see this, and if they're into Mega Man, they would. He's just so badass. Like, he's a literal Grim Reaper Navi, and he's not censored. He's got the dark face. He's got the misty hair. He's got the misty parts of his body. It's like if Skullman and Shadow Man were to have been merged, thrown a little bit of almost PG-13, and we get this dude. Although in the Japanese version, his name is Killer Man, but Erase Man sounds so much cooler. And we actually get to just kill in this mission. We basically go into the undernet, and there are enemies who we have to take out. And the way we take them out is sneaking up behind them. Basically, the enemies will be looking at each area within a line of sight. They see us, and we get damaged. But Erase Man, he floats like a Grim Reaper, and when you move faster, it's like he's gliding on air, wielding his scythe, and I love it. But he has an ability where he can disappear. Like, if you hold the button, he'll disappear so that you can't see him. And then you can reappear and strike him. I friggin' love that. Instead of backtracking and trying to find another way around the person, you can literally disappear and then just reappear behind them. And it's just so badass. And his boss fight is just the same. He'll have his Reaper Scythe attack. He'll send out misty figures down each area, which will also protect him. He has a laser beam eye in his chest, which is almost reminiscent of Duskman a little bit, which I really, really, really love. For those of you who don't know, actually, speaking of which, his cross form gives us the laser beam eye attack as a full charge. And look at this design. And here's Duskman from Digimon Frontier. Tell me there was not a little bit of inspiration. Okay, hang on. Little voice, could you do a quick search to see if Frontier came before Battle Network or just to see which one came first, just so I can get this correct? Okay, just checking. I just wanted to double check. The fact that he makes Mega Man look like a dark demon badass with triple eyes and the horns. Erase Man was a dark character, and I'm so happy that he was a guy that was playable, because Because I know a lot of people would have loved to play this guy if he wasn't. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my ranking of the Link Navis for Battle Network 6. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I hope you enjoyed the ranking. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me as we end the month of January with what little left is next week. So I'll have to do this on the weekend a little bit. Join me in the end of January where we sink our blades, kind of, into the very first of the Legacy of the Hidden Blades. This is Gamer K, logging out.